today's Toy Spot, we are having a look at the NECA Toys AVP Masked Scar Predator. Spot's already had a look at the unmasked Predator, which came to us from the first wave. The new wave features now a masked Scar Predator, which features him as he appears in the beginning of the movie, rather than the unhelmeted version that he appears later into the movie. He's recommended for ages 17 and up and features the same packaging as the previous released AVP figures. Down below, there's some artwork of the AVP Scar Predator, featuring over 30 points of articulation, includes shuriken, sword, spear, backpack, and cannon. As for the back of the package, other figures available. Now, unfortunately, they don't list the other characters on the back, but don't worry, Spot's going to be having a look at all three of them. In 2004, three young blood Yuja brothers are sent to Earth to the remote Antarctic location of the Bouvet Island for an initiation hunt. The ceremonial rite of passage happens every 100 Earth years in an ancient underground pyramid. Their goal, to earn the title of Blooded Yuja by stalking and killing their first xenomorph prey. The brothers hail from, the very hot to freezing equipped, Spot. The brothers hail from an isolated Yuja clan, there we go, high in the mountaintops, where temperatures vary from hot to freezing, equipped with thermal heated netting, spiked foot claws, full body armor. They are one of the few clans who can endure a sub-freezing sight for their off-world hunts. Scar is the youngest and smartest of the brothers, being the only one to survive long enough to reach the status of Blooded Yuja. His resourcefulness and strategic planning result in numerous xenomorph kills and even eliminates the Queen's egg clutch. But despite his cunning and fierce fighting skills, he ultimately meets his demise at the hands of the xenomorph Queen and later becomes host to the Pred-Alien hybrid, which of course is featured in AVPR. Spot's going to take a break and get this opened up. When we come back, though, we're going to get a better look at the NECA AVP Masked Scar Predator. There's more heading your way, guys. Don't go anywhere. Stay tuned. One little bit of adjusting or assembly that I've done just before the review started. I went ahead and added the plasma caster cannon to the shoulder area of Scar, and I've gone also ahead to add the plasma caster cannon, as those are two tricky points to getting the figure put together as soon as you get them out of packaging. You always seem to be struggling, at least I know I struggle, trying to get the backpack in place, so I've just gone ahead and done that. It is also to note as well that the actual cannon has a little track that the cannon can slide back and forth on. I don't know if you can see it or not, but there's a little notched area there where this slides back and forth. There's also a bit of adjustable neck area to the cannon, as well as it's adjustable there as well. So two areas where it hinges, and then again it slides back and forth on that track, just in case Spot misses it later into this video. Alright, so having the masked Scar Predator in hand, primarily it's pretty much exactly the same as the original Scar Predator, of course, except for the fact that he's now wearing the helmet on his head. The helmet also has the little notched areas that he's burnt in, indicated at the top there as well. Wish that was a little bit darker, but other than that, I got no real issues with the figure. These AVP figures from NECA have been astonishing. They've been really, really good in detail, paint. Of course, they are very standout. They do stand out from the other Predator figures if you have them in your collection. One notable thing that really draws these different, separates them from the other Predators that you have in your collection, is the armor. The armor is a very awesome looking, almost gunmetal. It's not quite a gunmetal silver, but it makes up the majority of the figure's suit or figure's body, running all the way right down to the little spiked little talons that are on the bottom of his feet as a foot guard. He also has it in his shin guards, the little side flaps on his legs. Not to mention as well, he's got it running all the way up the middle torso area here, attaching itself to the main chest plate that attaches with the shoulders. The shoulders are a soft rubber, so at least when moving the arms, they're not going to get in the way, which is one thing I do like. He does have a couple of other accessories above and beyond the caster shoulder cannon that we had to look at. He comes with his Predator Shuriken. And these could be mixed and matched with any of the other AVP figures. Also to note too, he does have a closed one that's attached to his leg, although you can't remove it, or attached to his waist, but you can't remove it. But he does have the extended out Shuriken. A little on the fragile side. I mean, these ones always are a little fragile just because they are such thin pieces. He does also have a retracted spear, painted it slightly a brownish, slight copper color with that same silver accents as the rest of his armor. Included as well, you get yourself a knife or long blade, which has that same sort of gold and same copper color. Not to mention as well, the blade seems to match the same coloring, slightly lighter maybe, as the armor itself. You can go ahead and take the blade. It slides very easily into place down the side of his leg, so you can store that if you don't have him displayed with it. Finally as well, he has a couple of extended blades, which again, these will vary depending on which AVP figures you have. Some of them have been a little bit smaller, some of them have been a little bit longer, so you can mix and match them depending on how you want to have them displayed. And these simply slide into these little notches here, slide into and fit into those little grooves. I think personally for the likes of Scar here, I probably will likely display him with the blades in his hand. It's just such a great look for him, as if he's just slayed a few xenomorph on his quest to be Blood Yuja. Some of the other interesting things to point out as well is that, of course, he's got the swing out console dash on his arm, complete with the 5 squares showing the countdown timer, which will eventually, always come to play with AVP movies or Alien or Predator movies. There's a little detail also on the inside panel. Small details. It's small details like this that give NECA the title of really the figure makers of the more recent figure designers of action figures. They really are kind of elevating themselves above other companies, and it's just like these little small details that gives them that title. Some other little interesting little details. He's got a necklace of various little skulls. I can't imagine these would be things that he would have slayed. They seem so small, not something that would pose such a threat to to any Yujas, really, for that matter. Perhaps it's something that it's perhaps things that they eat and they keep the skulls. It just seems like it's more something that has some ceremonial purpose to it, and that's why he would wear them. But they always seem such small creatures. And it's been around the back of the figure. He's got his long dread style hair, complete with little bands of gold, little areas of silver again as well, and that copper color. Just a great looking figure. It will look very similar to some of the other AVP figures because, of course, they all kind of share that same sort of armor look to them. I don't know if I would say that every Predator collector out there may get every AVP iteration, because really they do share so very similar characteristics from one to another. But still though, I might get, if anything, if I was to recommend any of the figures, I would probably get the primary characters, the Celtic, the Chopper, and of course the Scar. When it comes to his posability, Scar's head is on a ball joint, and this is always the problem with these figures, and it's not necessarily NECA's fault for doing it, but the way that the shoulder cannon is mounted in place, any slight bit of rotation to the head tends to want to pop this right off. So just be warned, when you rotate the head, you might find that that's popping off from time to time. If you're not somebody that ever sees himself taking, or her sees themselves taking off this backpack, maybe you could even just glue it into place. That way it's not going to go anywhere for you. As for your shoulders hinge out. Not restricted at all by the the actual shoulder pads, which is a nice touch. Has a rotation in the bicep area. There goes one of the blades. I'll just take both blades out. A bend at the elbow, which also doesn't rotate necessarily the forearm because there is a gauntlet. The gauntlet itself allows the rotation in the forearm. The hands also have a individual ball joint, which I might add as well. Folks over at NECA also give you a secondary hand that has an open fist or open grasp. That way you can use things such as the spear, because normally you wouldn't be able to. The fist on this side is closed shut. The torso is on a ball joint as well. Appears to be two ball joints, a ball joint at the top, ball joint at the bottom. Ball hinge joints on the legs. The top swivel cut right underneath the skirt armor there. He also has a swivel at the leg area, which also allows a double hinge knee. I'm so glad that these have double hinge knees. Finally, down below, a ball joint in the foot, allowing a pivot point as well as up and down motion. Perhaps you might feel a sense of deja vu looking at a figure like this, feeling like we've already been there, we've done that. Although I will say though, one beauty of getting now the actual helmeted version of Scar is that we're getting a sampling of what the actual Yuges look like when they first enter into the pyramid, in AVP. I think he actually turned out quite nice. Maybe not my favorite, but looking at it from maybe a classic Predator design, I think he's the closest to being a classic Predator, just slightly more silvered and armored up. Today's Toy Spot, we were having a look at the AVP, I believe this is Series 2. We're looking today at helmeted Scar. Stay tuned, guys. Spot's going to have more Toy Spots heading your way. As always, thanks for watching. See you next time.